this is May and welcome back to my channel for a brand new speed build. So today I am building a bit of a rundown single mom's home in Willow Creek for my save file that I'm currently working on. And this is the second house I'm doing in this neighborhood, and it is just across the Roomie's household, which was actually the first build I did for my save. And now we're back here again for the single mom's house. And if this is the first video of my save file series you are watching, I do have a playlist on my channel with all the lots I've done so far, and I was so surprised to see that we're getting close to 20 builds now across different worlds in the game, and it just means slowly but surely I am filling up the worlds with new builds and new sims and households. Today's build is for sure a lived in, and I would say still a cozy home, but it could use some TLC and renovating. It is quite a simple house, and it will have some vines running up the walls on the exterior, a few scratches here and there, and cozy mold, as I like to call it. It's not a rundown build without some cozy mold, so I definitely needed to use that here. And I really love those different wall stains and details from the For Rent pack, to be honest. And anything like that just makes the build more realistic in my opinion. Less perfect, more lived in or older looking. I didn't want this house to be too expensive, but it did end up around 50,000 simoleons regardless. I was really surprised. But it's probably because I put so much clutter in to make it more lived in. And yeah, anyway, this is going to be for a mom, as mentioned, whose name is Christine Sloan. She's currently living with her son Casper, who is a child, but she does have another kid, a toddler named Melody. So the story here is that Christine was once married to a guy named Russell, but they divorced a couple of years prior and they have decided to have one kid live with each of them. So Casper stays with Christine and Melanie stays with Russell. So I would of course believe that the kids would switch who they stay with at times, and if you have growing together, you can use the stay over feature and have Melanie stay with Christine for a couple of days and vice versa. And that's quite realistic in my opinion, and that's why there's a bunk bed in Casper's bedroom in case Melanie stays over. I did put a regular bed in, not a toddler bed, but you could of course easily switch that out if you end up playing with this household in the actual save once it is released. And a storyline that I wanted to include for the save is that Russell again is married and he has another kid of his own. So there's a bit of my kids, your kids, our kids kind of situation. And I know that at least in Norway, that's getting more common. So I thought that was an interesting storyline idea for the save and for this household, because I do want more of that diversity and also more like realistic representation. And I'll of course get back to Russell and his household later on when I make his house, but today I'll be focusing on Christine, Casper, and their house, of course. So Christine, she works in the culinary career. She's not that well off, she's quite non-committal, and she has trouble staying in relationships, but also to like stay with the same jobs for a longer time. So she is a bit restless, she doesn't want things to stay the same for too long, and I feel like she's been jumping from one job to another to try and feel out what she's enjoying, and currently she's testing out the culinary career. She is a head dishwasher, which is the second level of the career, so she's just barely starting out. The pay is definitely not great, and with the house being more expensive than I kind of wanted it to be, there might be some problems paying the bills. I'm not too sure how expensive the bills are in the game for this house, but there might be a dilemma there, and especially seeing as Christine jumps from one job to another. So will she stay in the culinary career and try and make a name for herself there, or will she stay in the same pattern of being indecisive and go for another job? So yeah, there's kind of like that situation going on for their household, and it's kind of up to you if you do end up playing with this household, like what happens in the future. But yeah, at least one of Christine's traits is non-committal. She's also a foodie and a music lover. She's been playing the piano since she was young, so I decided to put a piano in their house, but I definitely struggled finding space for it. but I eventually I ended up putting it in like this hallway space between the kitchen and the backyard. Christine also has the super parent aspiration, which I do believe comes with the Parenthood game pack. And despite her situation with the kids and all, she still wants to be a good parent. She wants to be there for her kids, which can be difficult in terms of Melanie, of course, and her and Russell, they don't get along that well. They didn't exactly end on good terms, but for the kids, they're still trying to make things work. As for the house, it has a small backyard. I didn't put a lot of stuff there, but I added the play tent from Dream Home Decorator. I actually had to check where that item was from because it's not an item I associate with Dream Home Decorator. I was thinking maybe Growing Together or Parenthood, but that was not the case. But yeah, I really do like that item. I often forget about it, and yeah, just along with that play tent, I put like a finished school project, the rocket that you can actually fire off. So this is something that comes from Parenthood, because if you have that pack, every Monday the kids will come home with different school projects. So I just got this like rocket project from the debug catalog, and I just thought the backyard was an excellent spot for it because you can actually like test it out. And talking about the school project, Casper the child is a bit of a meanie. He's not doing so well at school. He is a D grade student at the moment. I think his parents divorcing definitely affected him a bit, and their living situation changed, and like everything that followed has affected him. So he's acting out a bit. He doesn't have the best confidence, and he's sort of like in a loud childhood phase. So he plays a lot of loud music, he yells, and he goes a lot back and forth between just wanting attention and wanting to be left alone. He does have a couple of friends though, and one thing I realized not that long ago with the families I have made in Willow Creek so far is that there's a lot of male kids, so there's a bit of an unbalance there. So I want to try and fix that in the future. But yeah, because there's a lot of kids, it would be nice to create some sort of club. And if you do have the get together pack and you are familiar with the club feature, you are able to make clubs for kids as well. I'm not too sure what this club would be all about, like why are they gathering in the first place, but maybe it's just like a general club where kids can get together and play, maybe like hang out in the park or do homework. Even though I don't think Casper would be much about the latter, like doing his homework and stuff, he's more like a carefree kid, not really caring about school at the moment. And I think I could actually make a club that Christine is a part of as well. Sort of like a singles club or a club for divorced or maybe even widowed Sims, like a support group where they just hang out and do different things together, like going out for coffee or going bowling or anything similar like that. And maybe some members of that club they kind of connect, like they find new love, even though that's not really the purpose of the club. It's more of like a support group in a way. But I think that whole club idea would be really cute. And I gotta be honest, the club feature is something that gets easily forgotten about when I play the game, but it's really nice in terms of maintaining relationships. And it's also kind of realistic, so I'll definitely keep that in mind for this household. There is another household in Willow Creek that I have in mind at the moment that could work really well for that club, where like the club that Christine is a part of. And for this one, I'm thinking a widowed man with a child or two, but the deceased spouse is actually part of the household as a ghost. So a bit more of like a paranormal or spiritual household, if you will. Because from what I've seen, there will be coming some new stuff for ghosts in the new Life and Death expansion pack coming out on October 31st. And I'm not sure yet when this speed build will be coming out because I'm doing a lot of speed builds these days and trying to schedule everything. So I'm not too sure if this will be up before or after the expansion has dropped, but at least from what we saw in the gameplay trailer, you can now easily add ghosts to your household when a sim dies. kind of like a playable ghost, because before you didn't really have a choice. If the sim died, then you would just get their like tombstone and everything. But now you can actually add the ghost like really easily to your household. And they will also get like a totally new ghost power system coming with the pack, much similar to other occults in the game like vampires, werewolves, and spellcasters. And I really wish I could add mermaids to that list. I really do, but they actually do not have like that whole system, like the power system. And if there's one thing I wished I could add to the island living pack, it's that. That would be really amazing. But yeah, ghosts will now have powers, and I definitely want to include that kind of a storyline to one of my households as well. I haven't made this household yet, but I have it in my notes, and I think they will live very closely to the Goth family. Like, that neighborhood will be maybe more of a spiritual one from the looks of it now. And I can't wait to start making new builds with a new pack and coming up with new storylines for my save file that takes the new features into account as well, like the whole inheritance feature or the funerals. There will be like tarot card reading, bucket lists, new career, and everything like that. And it would also be pretty cool to make a cemetery. So maybe I'll do that for the big commercial lot in Willow Creek. I believe it's a 50 by 50 lot in the middle of the map. I was just thinking of doing a regular park, but a cemetery could for sure work there as well. And yeah, I think it works better in Willow Creek than Oasis Springs, for example. So I would love to do a cemetery in one of the base game worlds. And yeah, I've just been working on the interior of the house here. So far, you've seen me do the living room and kitchen. I haven't used the fanciest furniture, of course. There's this one cheaper couch that I've used in the living room, the 3-seater from base game. And that item recently got updated swatches, and I'm so happy about that. There was previously only like 3 swatches, and sometimes it's so difficult to match stuff in this game. So I'm really glad they've started updating more swatches for base game items. In the living room, I've just put some toys on the floor, a couple of like clutter on the coffee table and the shelves. I don't often add aquariums, but I thought that it would be like a nice addition for this family. They don't have any other pets, so just a couple of fish instead to take care of. And I think Casper really appreciates that, at least. He's probably fascinated by the fish. As for the kitchen, it is quaint and simple. I do a peninsula with the kitchen counters, where on the other side you can find the dining table. That's also where I put a laptop and some school books. I imagine Christine would try and help Casper with his homework sometimes, but it's not the easiest thing to do. And something I rarely do is put the washing machine in the kitchen, but I really think it fits nicely in here, like almost seamlessly in a way. And that actually reminds me that I think I forgot to add a clothesline in the backyard. So I need to remember to do that before I upload this to the gallery. And I also forgot to mention the front yard, because there I put a basketball hoop that Casper regularly uses. His bike is also out front, and there's like a stack of car tires there as well. I know we don't have any cars in The Sims 4, but just for the sake of realism, I put those tires there. And then I'm just working on Christine's and Casper's bedrooms. Again, I try my best to clutter them with different stuff, like Christine has a folder of documents by her bedside table that might be related to her work, or it could be different applications for work, or maybe even documents needed to apply for work, something like that. And I've just mixed and matched a couple of furniture. Maybe she has inherited some stuff or gotten something off the flea market, like the dresser, for example, has more of a retro vibe to it, and also the standing mirror behind the sofa has more of a bohemian vibe. She also has a lot of artwork everywhere in the house that the kids have made. There's some behind her bed, there's some on the fridge, and also some on the corkboard in the dining area. I think she's really proud of her kids, and of course want to showcase that throughout the house, which I think is heartwarming. I also think she would have photos of them when they were younger in the framed photos near the stairs on the first floor. As for Casper's room, we got the bunk bed as I mentioned earlier so that Melanie can stay over as well. The room there is kind of messy with stuff all over the floor. The desk and nightstand have a lot of stuff on them, and it kind of reflects the stage that Casper is in at the moment. And he is a kid after all, you know, they're not always known to be the tidiest human beings. And there is this big wardrobe in his room, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's just stuffed a lot of clothes, toys, and other stuff in there, like a big pile of things. But yeah, I think Casper is more of an active kid, even though he's probably creative as well. He loves to play around, play basketball, do tricks with the football, and stuff like that. Maybe even go swimming sometimes. Just like a lot of physical activities to kind of get his mind off things and let out some energy. He's also a bit into nature. He has a pet frog on his desk, like one of those collectibles you can get in the game. So I decided to put one there for Casper, and I also wanted to mention the feather photos and postcards I put on the wall in between the beds and the windows, because I imagine he'd gotten those from his dad, who's in the military career. So when his dad was away when Casper was younger, he would receive postcards and these feathers his dad found. So I thought that would be a cute idea for them, and I hope you enjoyed listening to this family story. As mentioned, I will talk more about the dad, Russell, at a later point, so do stay tuned for that. And other than that, I'm currently finishing up the build here and will soon head into the screenshots. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. This build is playtested and up on my gallery. My ID is honeymaysims, or you can find me with the hashtag honeymaysims as well. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today as we built this single mom's home, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!